Hey there, welcome back to the channel. What if I told you that true attraction has nothing to do with your looks, your bank account, or the words you say? What if I told you the people who are truly magnetic, the ones who walk into a room and command attention without saying a word, are the ones who live by a code, calm, grounded, disciplined, unshakable? That kind of energy can't be faked. It's not bought. It's built through habits, through character, through presence. And the truth is, the world doesn't need more loud voices. It needs more solid ones. In this video, you're going to learn 10 Stoic habits that will make you silently attractive, mentally sharp, emotionally powerful, and impossible to ignore. These aren't gimmicks. These are battle-tested principles pulled from the minds of the greatest philosophers to ever walk this earth. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. These habits are ancient, but more needed now than ever. In a world addicted to noise, distraction, and approval, the man who lives with clarity, control, and inner strength becomes rare, and rare always becomes valuable. When you embody these habits, you stop chasing validation. You start attracting respect. You stop overthinking. You start moving with power. And here's the truth. Silent confidence is louder than any speech, but it starts on the inside. It starts with the discipline to lead yourself. So before we dive in, I want you to do 3 things. Because this message isn't just a video, it's a mission. First, like this video to spread the message. It tells the algorithm, this is the kind of content the world needs more of. Second, comment below with the habit that hits you hardest, the one that speaks to your core. Your future self will thank you. And third, if you're ready to level up mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, subscribe now and join the growing movement of modern-day warriors who live by principle, not impulse. Because this channel isn't for everyone. It's for the few who are ready to rise above the noise and live with honor, focus, and strength. It's for those who are done pretending and ready to become. No more excuses, no more chaos, no more weak energy. What you're about to learn can change how you carry yourself, how people respond to you, and how you command your space, without ever raising your voice. This is not about being noticed. This is about being undeniable. So if you're ready to build a presence so strong, it speaks for itself, let's begin. Number 1, practice calm in chaos. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke. Let that sink in. The pain, the stress, the frustration. It's not the traffic. It's not the disrespect. It's not the delay. It's your perception. And perception is a power that lives in your hands alone. The world today is frantic. The noise is constant. Opinions everywhere. Outrage everywhere. Panic over things that don't matter. And the moment pressure shows up, most people lose their grip. They react, they explode, they crumble. But not you. Because if you walk the Stoic path, you don't fight fire with fire. You stay grounded like stone. You become the calm inside the storm. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to make a scene. You simply remain unshaken. That presence, that stillness, it's magnetic. In a world addicted to drama, calm becomes captivating. When others spiral, your silence becomes strength. When others argue, your stillness becomes authority. And when others panic, your composure makes you the leader, even when you say nothing. True power doesn't yell. It doesn't chase. It doesn't seek to control others. It masters itself. That's what makes it attractive. That's what makes it rare. Start small. When someone cuts you off in traffic, breathe. Don't react. When someone disrespects you, pause. Don't lower your standard. When plans fall apart, adapt without anger. You are not a puppet controlled by the world. You are the master of your mind. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is how you build silent power. You become the one who doesn't flinch. You become the one others lean on when things go wrong. You become the example, not the echo. Because the world doesn't need another man who loses his cool. The world needs men who lead with principle, who don't just talk Stoicism, but live it. Calm is a weapon. Stillness is a signal. In chaos, it tells the world, "I do not break." And when people feel that energy, when they see your emotional control, they respect you, they follow you, and they remember you. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes you impossible to ignore. So the next time chaos rises, let the world shout. Let them panic. Let them lose their grip. But you breathe. You remain composed. You stay in control. That's the first step towards silent power. That's habit 1. Number 2, speak less, mean more. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Think about that. Nature gave you the blueprint. Listen more, speak less. But in today's world, everyone wants to be loud. Everyone wants to talk, post, argue, prove. Most are addicted to noise. But silence? That's power. A man who speaks little, but means every word, is dangerous in the best way. He doesn't need attention. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't speak just to fill space. When he opens his mouth, it means something. And that rarity, that control, it's magnetic. The Stoic doesn't speak to be heard. He speaks to deliver truth. He listens more than he talks. He observes before he acts. And when he speaks, people lean in. Why? Because they know it matters. His words are not thrown around for ego. They're delivered with weight, precision, purpose. Every word has value. And in a world drowning in noise, value is rare, and rare is attractive. You don't need to dominate every conversation. You don't need to prove your intelligence with constant commentary. You prove it through restraint, through presence, through silence. Let your demeanor speak louder than your voice. Let your discipline echo louder than any rant. Most people reveal too much, too quickly. They overshare. They over-explain. But the Stoic? He keeps mystery. He keeps dignity. He says more with a glance than others say in a paragraph. And that mystery, that control, it draws people in. Start practicing this. Before you speak, ask yourself, does this add value? Is this necessary, or am I speaking just to be seen? Don't be afraid of silence. Own it. When you're in a room, don't try to dominate the space with words. Dominate it with presence, with posture, with observation. When you do speak, look people in the eye. Drop the filler words. Drop the fake laughs. Speak with clarity. Speak with intention. Say only what matters, and say it like it matters. Seneca said, "Speech is the mirror of the mind." So refine your mind. Build your thoughts with precision, and your speech will follow. Let your words be few, but unforgettable. That's how you build influence without chasing it. That's how you become silently magnetic. And when others notice that you don't talk to impress, when they see that you don't argue for attention or inflate your stories to be liked, they'll respect you more. Because you're different. You're rare. You're grounded. In a world of constant noise, be the quiet storm. Let your words carry weight. Let your silence carry presence. Speak less. Mean more. That's habit 2. Number 3. Build an unbreakable routine. Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." Let that sink in. What most people call luck is really just the result of silent, consistent preparation. You don't stumble into greatness. You build it, brick by brick, day after day, while the world is still sleeping. Routine is not just about productivity. It's about identity. The man who builds an unbreakable routine tells the world, "I know where I'm going. I don't need permission. I don't need applause. I move with purpose." Your routine becomes your silent signature. You rise before the sun. You train your body like a warrior. You read, you reflect, you write, you build, and you do it again tomorrow. That kind of discipline, that kind of consistency, it speaks louder than any words, because in a world full of distractions, discipline is rare, and what's rare becomes magnetic. Most people live reactively. They let life happen to them. But the Stoic? He happens to life. He doesn't need motivation. He has momentum. He understands that action fuels clarity, that movement creates energy, that routine destroys hesitation. Think of it like this. Every day, you're either reinforcing your strength or feeding your weakness. There is no neutral. So what are you reinforcing? A man with a strong routine is dangerous, not because he's aggressive, but because he's in control of his time, of his emotions, of his outcomes. He doesn't chase chaos. He creates calm. And calm is attractive. Calm is power. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Your routine is where that becomes real. You don't become confident by accident. You earn it through action. Quiet, repetitive action. So start small. Wake up at the same time. Journal for 5 minutes. Move your body. Read something that stretches your mind. Reflect before bed. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be daily. And here's the part most people miss. You don't need to feel inspired. You just need to show up. Every day you show up, you're casting a vote for the kind of man you're becoming. Eventually, that vote turns into identity, and identity shapes your reality. People will feel that. They'll feel the weight of your discipline, the pull of your direction, the steadiness of your energy. You won't have to announce it. You'll be it. So, if you want to be silently magnetic, build a routine that no one can see, but everyone can feel. You want power? Build it in private. You want confidence? Build it through consistency. You want to be impossible to ignore? Then make your daily actions impossible to break. Routine isn't boring. Routine is freedom. Build yours like your life depends on it, because it does. Number 4, master emotional control. Seneca said, "He who angers you conquers you." Read that again, because those 8 words could save you years of wasted energy. The quickest way to lose your power is to hand it over through your emotions. And most people, they give it away freely. A snide comment, a delayed text, a disrespectful tone, and suddenly they're spiraling, angry, reactive, out of control. But the Stoic man, he knows better. He doesn't suppress his emotions. He doesn't pretend he's a robot. No, he masters them. He feels everything, but he chooses what to show. Because emotions are visitors. They come, they go. But your actions, they stay. And that's what you control. Here's the truth. When you lose your temper, you lose the battle. When you react to every insult, you shrink your presence. When you let someone else push your emotional buttons, you give them control of your mind, and they don't deserve that. Control is not weakness. Control is not coldness. Control is power. It's strength under the surface. It's fire with direction. Someone disrespects you? You don't bark back. You don't over-explain. You stay calm, look them in the eye, and let your silence speak for itself. Something doesn't go your way. You don't complain. You don't crumble. You adapt. You adjust. You find the next move, and you execute it. That emotional balance, that stillness, it draws people in because it's rare, because it's reliable, because people trust the man who doesn't flinch under pressure. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome and one of the greatest Stoics, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the key. You don't control what happens, but you always control how you respond, and your response is what defines you. You want to be magnetic? Then be unshakable. Practice this daily. When someone cuts you off in traffic, breathe. When someone tests your patience, pause. When your plans fall apart, adjust. The more you train your emotional control, the less you get pulled into the chaos around you. This isn't about pretending. It's about owning your space, holding your frame, refusing to be a puppet on someone else's strings. A stoic man is like a mountain. Weather comes, storms, heat, wind, but the mountain stands. That's how you become impossible to ignore. That's how you stand out in a world of overreaction and chaos. So, the next time someone tries to trigger you, remember this: he who angers you conquers you. Don't let anyone conquer your peace. Protect it like your life depends on it, because your power does. Emotional control isn't silence. It's discipline. It's presence. And that presence, it's magnetic. Number 5. Detach from outcomes. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Most people live on edge. Their worth rises and falls with outcomes they can't control. How many followers they gain, how much money they make, whether someone approves or claps for them. They're constantly chasing the next reward and wondering why they feel so empty. But the Stoic, he's different. He doesn't chase applause. He doesn't cling to results. He shows up, does the work, and lets the outcome fall where it may. Why? Because he understands this truth. The process is yours. The outcome is not. You can control your effort, your attitude, your discipline. But results? They're not always up to you. You might give your all and still not get the reward you hoped for. That's life, and that's okay. What matters is who you become in the process. Detach from results, and suddenly you become free. Free from needing validation, free from fear of failure, free to operate from a place of power, not pressure. And that freedom? It's magnetic. A man who is unattached to outcomes is a man who cannot be shaken. He plays to win, yes, but he's not destroyed by the scoreboard. He's here to grow. He's here to sharpen. He's here to master himself. And that mindset? It's rare. It's powerful. It makes people look twice. Think about it. Who's more attractive? The guy begging for attention, or the one who's focused, grounded, and moving with purpose, whether you notice him or not? You already know the answer. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop depending. It means you give your best effort without letting your identity hang on the outcome. This is where true confidence is born, because it's no longer what you get that makes you strong. It's who you are, regardless of what you get. Apply this everywhere. In your work, focus on your craft, not the applause. In your relationships, show up authentically, not to impress. In your goals, pour in the effort, but release the timeline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about your neighbors, unless with a view to some mutual benefit." In other words, stop obsessing over how things look. Stop trying to control what's outside your hands. That obsession will drain you. But when you focus inward, on your character, your process, your growth, you become unstoppable. So, here's the challenge. Do the work, stay consistent, and let go. Detach from outcomes, and watch the world lean in. Because the man who doesn't need results to feel powerful becomes powerful. Let others chase approval. You chase excellence. And excellence doesn't beg, it builds. Number 6, sharpen your mind daily. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Your mind is your command center, your weapon, your sanctuary. But here's the truth. If you don't train it, the world will control it for you. You train your body. Why not your mind? Most people live in mental chaos, scrolling endlessly, consuming junk information, reacting instead of thinking. Their thoughts are scattered, shallow, and weak. But not you. You're here to be sharp, calm, precise. That starts with a daily habit, feeding your mind the right fuel. Read philosophy, read history, read truth, not for entertainment, for empowerment. The Stoics didn't just talk about life. They studied it. They wrote. They reflected. They questioned their assumptions. They trained their inner world the way warriors train for battle. And that's what you are, a mental warrior in a world gone soft. So, carve out time each day. No excuses. Read something that challenges you. Journal your thoughts. Sit in silence, not to escape, but to listen to your own mind. Ask yourself hard questions. What am I afraid of? What am I avoiding? What am I becoming? This is how self-awareness is forged. This is how strength is born. Not by accident, but by intention. And here's the thing. Mental sharpness is magnetic. People feel it in your presence, in your words, in your silence. You walk into a room and you carry depth. You're not distracted. You're not lost. You've done the inner work, and it shows. In a world full of noise, the man who can think clearly stands out. That's you. So, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for peace and quiet. Make sharpening your mind a non-negotiable. Read, journal, think, repeat. Because a sharp mind doesn't just survive, it leads. Let others be entertained. You, be equipped. Number 7, control your environment. Seneca said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Your environment either sharpens your edge or dulls it. It's not just where you live. It's what you consume, who you speak to, what you tolerate. Every sound, every conversation, every piece of content. It's either building your character or chipping away at it. The Stoic doesn't leave that to chance. He audits everything, ruthlessly. Start with your space. A cluttered room creates a cluttered mind. Clean it. Organize it. Make it reflect clarity and intention. Your environment should feel like a place of strength, not chaos. Now look at your circle. Are the people around you raising your standards or draining your energy? Cut out gossip. Cut out those who complain more than they act. Keep your time sacred. You are not available for weak conversations. Surround yourself with people who are disciplined, who train, who think deeply, who aren't afraid of truth. People who don't run from silence. That kind of energy is rare. But when you find it, lock in. Iron sharpens iron. Protect your digital environment too. What you scroll becomes what you think. If your feed is filled with distractions, drama, and garbage, it's silently rewiring your brain. Unfollow the noise. Follow value. And most importantly, build pockets of silence into your life. Silence is sacred. In silence, you hear your own thoughts. In silence, you see what needs to be fixed. A man who can sit in silence without distraction is a man with depth, and depth is magnetic. When your environment reflects discipline, clarity, and strength, people can feel it. You won't need to speak louder. You won't need to prove anything. Your presence will say it all. You walk into a room and people notice. Not because you're flashy, but because you're grounded. You're calm, your focus, your standards. They stand out in a world full of noise. The truth is, most people let the world shape them. But the Stoic, he shapes the world around him. So, take control. Clean it. Cut it. Curate it. Because your environment is a mirror. And once it reflects your values, your power becomes undeniable. Number 8. Walk with purpose. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." You want to command respect without saying a word? Master how you move, posture, pace, eye contact, energy. Every step you take should reflect purpose. Most people walk like they're unsure, hunched over, distracted, aimless. That's not you. A man of depth, a man of principle, walks with direction, even if he's just going to the store. Why? Because movement mirrors mindset. Don't drift through space like a leaf in the wind. Don't shuffle like someone who's invisible. Move with conviction. Move like your time matters. Because it does. Stand tall, shoulders back, chest open, not to show off, but to signal confidence, not arrogance, presence, groundedness. Your walk should be steady, not rushed, not hesitant. A firm, deliberate pace that says, "I know exactly who I am and where I'm headed." That kind of body language can't be faked. It comes from inner alignment. When you know your values, when you've built discipline, when your days are driven by mission, not emotion, your movements change. You stop fidgeting. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You walk like a man who belongs. And here's the real secret. People feel that. Long before you open your mouth, they're already reading your energy. Your walk becomes your introduction. Your silence becomes your statement. Look people in the eye, not to dominate, but to let them know you're fully present. That you're not hiding, that you're not chasing approval. You're simply standing in your truth. When you walk with purpose, you make it clear, without saying a word, that you live with intention. That you're not reacting to life, you're leading it. Even in the smallest moments, you're building a silent legacy. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. So ask yourself, how do I move through the world? Drifting or directed? Start today. From the moment you rise, walk with purpose. Own your path. Let every step be a reflection of the man you are becoming. Because a powerful man doesn't need to announce himself. His presence does it for him. Number 9. Say less yes, more no. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Most people weaken themselves with a single habit. They say yes too easily. Yes to people who waste their time. Yes to events that drain their energy. Yes to obligations that pull them away from their mission. And then they wonder why they're tired, distracted, and directionless. But the Stoic says no, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. No to shallow invitations. No to meaningless talk. No to anything that doesn't serve the man he's becoming. Because every yes given without intention is a silent compromise of one's values. The Stoic doesn't fear being misunderstood. He doesn't flinch when others get uncomfortable with his boundaries. He knows that to protect his purpose, he must be ruthless with his focus. And that means drawing the line. When you say no to distractions, you say yes to discipline. When you say no to superficial praise, you say yes to real growth. When you say no to the crowd, You say yes to the path few are willing to walk. And that is rare. That is powerful. That is silently attractive. A man who says no with conviction radiates strength. He walks into a room and people feel his focus, even if he doesn't say a word. He's not trying to please everyone. He's building something. And that kind of energy speaks louder than charm ever could. So, start saying no. Not from a place of fear, but from a place of purpose. Say no to the unimportant, and the important will start to rise. You don't need to explain. You don't need to apologize. Stand on your values and let the world adjust. When you do this consistently, you'll notice something. People start respecting your time. They start watching you differently. They feel your presence, even in your silence. Because a man who guards his time guards his life. Say less yes, more no. Your mission depends on it. Number 10. Stand alone when necessary. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." The Stoic man is not fueled by approval. He doesn't need noise to validate his path. He knows exactly who he is, and he's willing to walk that path alone if it means staying true to his values. Most people follow the crowd because it feels safe, but that safety is an illusion. It costs your authenticity. It drains your power. The Stoic stands alone when he must, not because he's antisocial, but because he refuses to compromise his principles. That kind of man, he commands respect without even asking for it. When you can face solitude with strength, you become a fortress, untouchable, grounded, dangerous in the best way. You don't fold when no one's clapping. You don't flinch when no one agrees. You hold the line. That discipline, that inner strength, it radiates. People see it, even if they can't explain it. They respect it, even if they don't understand it. And the best part? You don't do it to be seen. You do it because it's who you are. You'd rather walk alone in truth than join a crowd built on lies. That's real power. That's silent dominance. And when the world realizes you're not desperate to be accepted, they start to follow your lead. The man who can stand alone becomes the man others lean on. So don't fear solitude. Embrace it. That's where your real strength is forged. That's where clarity sharpens your vision. And that's where your presence becomes magnetic, without ever having to make a sound. These 10 Stoic habits are not just tips. They're a code, a way of life forged in silence, sharpened through discipline, and powered by something the world can't give you, and can't take away: inner strength. You don't need to shout to be seen. You don't need approval to be powerful. When you build yourself from within, when you live with principle instead of performance, the world takes notice. Not because you're loud, but because you're real. So if this message hits something deep inside you, if you're done chasing and ready to become, then join this movement. Subscribe to Stoicism Reborn. Like the video. Drop a comment below with the one habit you're committed to mastering. This isn't about trends or attention. This is about presence, silent power, real power. Live like a Stoic. Walk with calm. Speak with intention. Move with purpose. The world will notice, without you having to say a word. Subscribe now.